if you've been with us since the beginning, you will know that my celebrity crush is
Shawn Mendes.
Shawn Mendes.
Bing,
He
bing,
is
bing.
the only, well, he's not the only man I'd be in a celebrity relationship with, but he's...
We know.
Ding, ding, ding. Oh, it's that today, is it? Is that how it's going to...
No, it's not.
No,
It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, carry on.
Well, I think we'd look great together is what I was going to say.
No, you would. Right now, it's more of like a parasocial relationship between two of you rather than like a real,
Sure.
you know, which means you know way more
Right,
about him, like
right.
so much information about
Right.
him, and he literally knows absolutely nothing about your existence.
Do you know what this is giving?
What?
This is giving the scene in Bridesmaids. You know where she goes, "This is my husband. You don't have a husband. That's you. You're in a really nice, happy relationship.
No, I would
God
never.
forgive me for fancying Shawn Mendes." Well, today we're going to be talking about a very different kind of celebrity romance, and that is parasocial relationships. I'm Jack Remmington.
And I'm Sarel, and this is Famously in Love, the podcast where we look at every single aspect of celebrity relationships.
It's like if your favourite celebrity Insta page met QI. Expect detail, gossip and drama.
From BBC Sounds, this is Famously in Love. I feel like parasocial relationships have grown through the age of social media.
Big time.
Because back in the day, there was like a distance between me and my fave celeb.
Yeah.
Now, for some reason, I know what Kylie Jenner's having for breakfast. Bit too much information, Kylie. Do you know what I mean?
Isn't that actually wild? Because you don't really deep that unless you make that comparison.
Yeah.
You literally know what they eat if they post it on their story.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I mean, even 10 years ago, if you really compare to, like, I don't know, the 60s or, like, Marilyn Monroe era, it's solely what they want out there is what is out there. That's it.
PR was so much easier back in the day because
Yeah.
you literally just like drop-fed information
Yeah.
for people to latch onto.
And they nibbled it up.
Nibbled it up. But I think the more, and I think it started with the paps.
Yeah.
Paparazzi really got like invasive, long lenses, all of that.
Yeah.
And then I think celebrities wanted to take control of their narrative.
Right.
But have now started sharing to the point where people genuinely feel as though they are like, that's my friend in my head. And like, or like a celebrity would do something and in the comments, it would be like, no, I just know they wouldn't. Like,
Right.
it's like, I just know.
I know them.
I know them and I know that.
Cool. And
Like,
do they know you?
Do they? Do you know them? I don't think you do,
I don't think
sweetheart.
you do.
I don't. But like, yeah, there's also like fan groups as well who carry this trend on. Obviously, we've got Nicki and the Barbs. We've got Beyonce.
Say more, yeah.
Beehive. Would you say you are part of the Beehive?
I'm Hive, yeah. But Hive are, I don't think, up there with the most insane
Okay.
fans. I don't think they are.
I agree.
I don't think Hive in general are toxic. I think some fan bases
I think
are.
Hive were. And
Yeah.
they grew out of the toxicity.
Yeah.
Because remember when Lemonade dropped
Yes.
and it was like Becky with the good hair and then the wrong Rachel got dragged and they started dragging Rachel Ray, who's just a chef, who was just minding her business. And they were like, no, wrong Rachel. But Rachel, you know, her comments were flames for a couple of days. So yeah, I think the Beehive they've got better.
Yeah.
Over the years, but there are some Swifties. There are other fan bases that they've got energy right now. You know, energy.
Yeah,
so if you say anything untoward, you will know how they feel about it.
Yeah. Your address will get posted online.
You will be doxxed.
Yeah. Correct.
So before we start, let's give a definition of what a parasocial relationship is.
Right.
Yeah.
So parasocial relationships are one-sided relationships where one person extends emotional energy, interest and time, and the other party, the persona, is completely unaware of the other's existence. That is a shady definition.
That is the rudest thing I've read.
Correct. They are most common with celebrities, organisations like sports teams or television stars.
Oh, yeah.
And expand the social network in a way that negates the chance of rejection and empowers individuals to model and identify with individuals of their choosing who naturally elicit an empathic response. And I think the big thing with that is there are some positives to it. So the International Journal of Indian Psychology said parasocial relationships can also provide a community that supports and eases feelings of loneliness. Being a part of a group that shares a passion for the same person or thing can bring people together when they feel isolated. And there is something to be said about, bear with me on this,
Okay.
if you don't have many mates at school for whatever reason, if you were bullied or whatever, you're a little bit different, if you can then go online and find people who also adore a certain this sounds like I'm shading my mate by saying that this is a separate situation, but I have a friend who adored McFly, right? And she ended up like meeting other people at McFly gigs that she's become really good friends with, and is now married to someone, another girl who she met at originally like through McFly.
I thought you were going to say married to a member of McFly.
No, that would therefore have broached the parasocial relationship situation. But what I'm saying is that was a big blessing part of her life. So I think
they bonded over.
Yeah. So I think there are positives to be taken. But I'm just putting that out there now because obviously 95% of this is going to be us saying it's all hell.
Well, okay. I do think, yes, there are positives in the sense that you can have common ground with people who also love a specific thing. Like, if you all love the same football team, everybody goes and watches football together and it's like, well, Arsenal or whoever plays football. If it's a celebrity, you have that common ground. But I think it... like anything, if not done in moderation, it can then encroach into unhealthy territories.
100%.
And it actually probably affects the person who you are
supposed to be loving and supporting.
Exactly. The person who you're revering, it starts to affect them negatively.
It also can inspire quite a lot of aggressive behaviour, which is weird because then it's often times... that behaviour can be targeted at, like you say, at the celebrities that they're supposed to be uplifting and adoring because they feel so entitled to certain things.
The lines get so easily blurred, especially if, let's say, you've been following Taylor from the age of like 10 years old. You've grown up with her. You've gone through all of your major life changes with her, even though she's not aware of this. But every time you had a breakup, you played Taylor. Every time you we're getting ready for graduation, you played Taylor. Do you know what I mean?
But you know, that's a lot for celebs. I was reading something the other day that was saying, basically it was a celeb or a singer requesting fans to not trauma dump in meet and greets. And I think a lot of celebrities don't do meet and greets anymore for that reason. Like Chapel Rowan, who we've spoken about on the pod before, is fab and she's this massively rising star. But she's saying it's really becoming a lot when she meets fans sometimes because it's one thing to say, you know, your music saved my life. It's another to then say, so basically, because my mum had cancer and then this, like, it's a lot for you to then just have to smack a smile on your face and go on stage after having met 50 people, half of whom have told you everything. And obviously they only really see their world where they're the only person telling you that. But what you don't understand is that you're part of 25 other people in that same one night of meet and greet that they just have to go like on stage without being able to unpack.
So it if not done in moderation or healthily, it can really affect everyone involved, but specifically the person whom you actually want to show love and adoration to. We've got two examples here. The first example we've got is Selena Gomez, Justin Bieber, and Hailey Baldwin. This thing with these three has been going on for years.
And I don't think it's ever going to end.
The problem is there is always something that reignites the conversation. So let's take it back. It's 2009. Kanye interrupts Taylor Swift during the VMAs.
I'm going to let you finish, but
Beyonce should have won. The world has divided into Team Edward or Team Jacob. Obviously Team Edward. Obviously.
Jacob was so much more attractive.
But he had no sex appeal. He was just like
he was a wolf. Of course he had sex appeal.
I am big wolf. No.
That is all I need.
Edward was like, look into my eyes. I'm intense. I'm intense.
No, Edward was as white as a sheet of paper. He looked ill.
Anyways, Facebook launches Farmville. Did you ever get into that?
I actually did get into Farmville.
Of course you did.
Of course I did.
Of course you did. Okay, so let's break down the timeline.
No, lest we forget Glee launches in 2009.
Jesus be offense.
God.
Jesus be an actual offense.
Jesus be a biscuit.
I thought I was going to be able to get through that.
And
go on.
Party in the USA was released by Miley Cyrus, one of the best-selling female singles of all time, when she was 16.
Yep.
And do you know who it was written by? Because this is a very good trivia point
Jessie
that I
J.
love to tell everyone. Well done!
Yes.
Well done.
Okay, can I now get into the timeline?
Yes.
Okay, great. So it's 2009, Selena and Justin first meet, okay? Selena is in Disney's Wizard of Waverly Places.
Waverly
Places. She's on Disney's Wizards of Waverly Places, which is actually quite a tongue twister.
Not really.
Well, shut up. Justin's first album is out and it's massive. He's
I was obsessed with him.
Belieber from day. It's still 2009, and Justin and Hailey Baldwin first meet at a meet and greet. Hailey is a Belieber, aspiring model, and obviously daughter, the one and only.
Nepo.
Nepo baby.
Nepo baby.
Nepo baby. Stephen Baldwin, and her uncle is Alec.
Correct. Isn't it crazy that she was a Belieber? She met him at a meet and greet. It wasn't like where Stephen Baldwin was like, oh, this is my daughter in a celebrity space.
No,
she went and queued at a meet and greet.
Which I love.
Me too, but I guess that though.
So in a way, does she have a parasocial relationship?
This is what I'm saying. This makes the parasocial relationships. People are like, well, come on, let me. Because I also know that there are some like male celebs and rappers and stuff who've openly admitted that they will sleep with fans.
Oh, fans.
So therefore, I guess it's not as if a lot of these fans are what's the phrase? Like beating the dead tree, climbing the wrong horse.
What are you saying? What? Are you just using words?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what I'm getting at. There's like, oh, look, that's the end goal.
It's
I could
doable.
actually be the Hailey to the Justin.
Yeah. In 2011, Selena and Justin become official. Fans fall in love with them, dubbing them Jelena. In 2011, Hailey tweets about her support for Justin and Selena's relationship as a fan.
As a fan.
Pin that.
Yep.
As a fan.
Do you know what she said in that tweet?
Hit us.
I don't care what anyone says, but Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez together is the definition of a teenage dream. #word.
Wow.
Yeah.
In 2012, Selena and Justin sadly break up. Okay? Fast forward to 2015. Things are unclear. Both of their relationship, as in Justin dated Sophia Richie, who had a lot of hate.
He'd also been going through it at this point. He was arrested for drink driving. He was accused of vandalism.
Gone through it.
My favourite point, it's not funny, but just the fact that he owned one in the first place. He lost custody of his pet monkey in 2014.
I didn't even know he had a pet monkey.
Of course he lost custody of his pet monkey in 2014. Because if you drink driving and accused of vandalism, how can you be looking after a chimp?
Can't look after a chimp. Clearly, we must revoke your right to look after said chimp.
Yeah.
So things are happening for him, okay, at this moment in time. We go to 2017 and Selena and Justin start dating again, okay? Just days after the news hit, Selena and The Weeknd have split. Okay? So it's all happening over a very quick periodological time.
Yeah.
Okay. We go to 2018 in March. Justin and Selena break up. It was very up and down for these two. 2018 June, Justin and Hailey rekindle their relationship. 2018 September.
3 months.
3 months.
After the rekindling.
Justin marries Hailey. Now, I want to just pause here because the internet was on fire. My For You page was think piece after think piece around Justin Bieber, Selena and Hailey, and whether or not this was wrong to do this to Selena, how Selena would feel. People were so invested over this. The marriage just kind of shook and everybody's lines were drawn in the sand at this point. 2023, Selena shares a message to her fans, okay, saying, Hailey Bieber reached out to me and let me know that she's been receiving death threats. Pause. She's been receiving death threats for years. Selena, you knew.
You know this.
You know this, girl.
Yeah.
Anyways, I continue that she's been receiving death threats and such hateful negativity. This isn't what I stand for. No one should have to experience hate or bullying. I've always advocated for kindness and really want this all to stop. Sweet message. So just to end the wrap up of the timeline, 2024, May, Justin and Hailey are announcing they're having a baby.
Yeah.
Little babby has come into the picture. So we've had marriage, we've had a baby. At this point, I think most people are like, right, Jelena's never happening. If you were holding out for that torch, it's probably not going to happen. There's a lot to unpack here, but I want to know, why do fans get so defensive over celebrity relationships?
I think it's one thing to be defensive over celebrity relationships. I think it's another when every, 2 years or so, we get a huge celebrity coupling. So, we've discussed that with Taylor and Travis. Even though I guess in our world, Travis wasn't as much, we weren't aware of him before, but he represents a big chunk of, straight male America.
Yeah.
Justin and Selena were the it girlies of their time.
Yeah.
Like, she has an insane number of followers on Instagram. Justin Bieber was the pop icon. Like for 10 years, everyone's just, I mean, even Shawn Mendes for years, it was looked at as like, oh, he's trying to be the next Justin Bieber. Like any male singer who is appealing to teen girls was, oh, you're going for the Justin Bieber model.
Yeah. Have Jelena, as in Justin and Selena, been treated differently to other celebrity couples? Why might that be?
I wonder sometimes if you come into the public psyche so young, and if your relationship is when you're very young, which this was, it's almost like even when you get older and if you were still together, which they obviously aren't, the relationship matures, people still kind of see you as the kids that you were. So they have almost this entitlement or like, well, I know better for you because you're only a kid. Even if they're not.
I feel like, I don't know, I feel like we kind of had another example of this with Zac Efron and Vanessa. In a smaller scale, where people like shipped them and loved them as a couple, and then when they split up, it was kind of like, oh my god, no, like we loved you in High School Musical, and then you got together, and it was kind of like no. But I think with Selena and Justin, I don't know what is in the water, but everybody lost their damn minds.
I think, having addressed Jelena, we just need to move on to the Hailey stuff, because I know we have different opinions on this, but like there was a point where Selena had shared that she'd done like an eyebrow lamination fail or whatever.
Yeah.
And then Hailey was with Kylie Jenner.
Yes.
And they took the piss out, like they were zooming in on their eyebrows and being like whatever. And then there was a day where Hailey and Selena happened to have been in the same restaurant at a similar time.
Yeah.
Hailey was with Madison Beer in this restaurant, and apparently Madison Beer requested that they play Yummy, which was what Justin wrote about his love for Hailey, through the speakers while Selena was in there. Like, it's just little petty things, and I don't see Selena personally. Maybe I bought into the PR machine of, like, I'm a girly with lupus and I'm struggling and relatable and I'm like you. But she doesn't give me mean girl, whereas I think the others with the cliqueiness sometimes more so veers into that.
But I think it's difficult because for Hailey, she was never going to win.
I do feel bad for her, because on the Call Me Daddy podcast in 2022, she addressed it and said, you don't have to like me, but you don't have to say anything either.
Yeah.
A lot of the hate and the perpetuation comes from like, oh, you stole him. And I guess maybe that just comes from the fact that they wish he'd ended up with somebody else. If people want them to be together so badly, as the new person, you cannot win.
You cannot win.
You could be completely in the right. The other woman could be in the awful wrong.
Yeah. And
the man have moved on, and it's all fair and it's all equal. And still, in the court of public opinion, you are a hussy.
Yes.
You are a home-wrecking hussy.
You will be dragged to filth no matter what.
Which is hell.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's kind of one of those things where if you fuel it by Justin sticking up for her and Selena sticking up for her, people are like, look how great they are. They have to stick up for this hussy. And then if you say nothing, it's like...
It's so funny, isn't it?
But if they say nothing, it's also then like, oh, look, none of them are saying anything. Because, do you know what I mean? Like, she's just... You're damned if you do, damned if you don't in this situation.
I agree. It's that age of social media, like you say, because I think with, like, Brangelina versus Jennifer Aniston and all that, they were obviously a brutal separation, made news everywhere.
Yeah.
But the point is that when Brad and Jennifer split, it was 2005.
Yeah.
So there were, people did wear T-shirts of like Team Aniston, Team Jolie, but it wasn't the same.
No.
If there'd been Twitter at the time in 2005, can you imagine? There'd have been so many fans insisting like Brad hadn't really moved on. And don't get me wrong, I find it surprising that there are still people in real life that I meet and it'll come up in conversation and they'll say, yeah, I think Brad will end up with Jennifer Aniston.
Jennifer doesn't want Brad.
No. And nor should she want him. No, nobody should want Brad nowadays.
Jennifer does not want Brad.
But isn't it crazy? Like, so there are still some people, but obviously it's not the same level of
the difference is
ferociousness.
It's the volume thing.
Yes.
Like conversations have constantly been happening and people get very, kitchen table talk. It's like team Jennifer, team Angelina, team whatever. But the thing with social media is it takes kitchen table talk off of the kitchen table
and flings it into the abyss.
Yeah.
I agree.
And you can just see masses of Everybody's got an opinion. Someone said opening Twitter is just like walking into a room of thousands of people just shouting their opinions at the same time. Like, I had eggs for breakfast.
Yeah, it is.
I voted.
Does that mean you hate tomatoes?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's just kind of like, this is unnatural. This is weird.
So then, how do celebs stop parasocial relationships getting out of control?
Honestly,
I do think I'm not saying they necessarily have a responsibility to check them, because I don't really believe in that. I don't think celebs have much of a responsibility to do anything. I don't think they have a responsibility to be role models.
no.
Talk about unless social issues. If you are a celeb who is going to start marketing all of your products to actual children, like if Rihanna started a huge... Even then, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's just like if your whole brand suddenly became, this is for 6-year-olds, then that's a bit weird. But as someone who just happens to make music and it's so popular that all ages listen to it, I don't think there's any moral responsibility for people to do a certain thing.
At all.
But I guess that's why I saw the Selena thing as good, because the bar is in hell, but even Selena just putting that out and saying you need to stop is more of an acknowledgement than a lot of celebs do with their fans that go crazy.
I agree. I think I'm in the same frame of mind that like celebrities really and truly, like for the most part, they're famous because they sing, they are on reality TV. But, you know, if you were trying to be a politician, yes, I would hold you to a different standard. However, I do believe that if you know your fans are absolutely unhinged because they love you so much, there are things you can do without having to talk to them and be good people.
Agreed.
There are things you can do just as an individual that lets them know that there are certain behaviours that are not acceptable when you follow me. Don't come to my defence in a negative way. Do you know what I mean?
I agree, but then I totally agree with all that. But I think that speaks only to celebs where there's like a standum of people that have swarmed together. I think then when you use examples, so like Ivana Lynch, who played Luna Lovegood on Harry Potter, said that, I mean, she's got a few million followers, but she would have particularly like individual men messaging her. And that's a very, like messaging, it's a very different thing. It's not that the fans are being weaponized to your defense. It's that they're just wanting to talk to you. You're not, because also as an actor, you're in a lot less, and I use it in inverted commas, but like competition. Of course, singers aren't in competition, but we see it as chart battles and whatever. Whereas actors is very much, you do your job, turn up, whatever.
Yeah.
And she said, one day I'll never forget, a guy wrote me novel-length letters on Facebook every day, talking to me as if I was his best friend and telling me about his life. Sometimes he'd be really friendly and sweet, and other days he'd be furious because I actually never replied. Wow. Lynch was a teenager at the time. I sort of had the sense, even then, that there's something not right here. She speaks about him with considerable empathy, but over time, she's changed the way she engages with fans. She says she's much more guarded now. I usually don't reply to those messages because there's a fragility there that can be quite dangerous to entertain when you're somebody who they revere so much. And that is really tough because you're stuck between a rock and a hard place there. If she were to put out a message and say, guys, please stop messaging me directly and seeing me as anything other than an actor that's very distant from you, people feel this entitlement already, and it's inherent now in their relationship with her that she would just be seen as like upper tier and like, get a grip, you've put yourself here, that's what it's part, it's part of the course. The criticism and whatever else.
It is difficult, but I do think if you're a celebrity, there are things you can do to help yourself not feel as though you're basically being bombarded with X, Y, and Z. Want to delve into more celebrity stories?
Stacey Dooley and Larry Dean analyse some of the most shocking and downright absurd controversies in celeb world on their podcast, Famously on Trial.
You can listen to every episode on BBC Sounds.
Now, I want to look at what happens in a very different type of parasocial relationship.
Okay.
Hold on to your seatbelts, girls, because this one is
something
a
else.
Bumpy ride. Yes.
Something else.
Or in the words of Victoria Beckham in Spice World, hold on to your knickers, girls, whilst she goes over to our bridge. Anyway, I want to talk about the fan fiction of Harry Styles and Louis Tomlinson.
Wow.
But first, let us set the scene.
Let's.
2010, okay? Bieber releases Baby.
Oh, gee.
What a banger. Gee. Gaga wore the meat dress to the VMAs.
Oh my God, yeah.
And Angry Birds was a massive thing.
Remember.
I was obsessed with Angry Birds.
Remember.
Moving on to One Direction,
Yes.
2010, formed on the X Factor. Did you know there's footage to show they were put together by Nicole?
Yes.
In much the same way as Little Mix were put together by Kelly.
Yes. Womening.
Womening. Louis and Harry are, of course, two of the members, alongside Zayn, Liam and Niall. Larry's portmanteau of Louis and Harry, Larry,
Okay.
were fans of the band who were shipping Harry and Louis, i.e. wanting them to be together.
In a relationship.
But yeah, and it's not the first time this happens. Like, there's so many sides of TikTok, particularly nowadays, where you can go down rabbit holes of people reading into things and like Taylor Swift and Carly Kloss, were they ever a thing? Are they a thing? Was Cornelius... There's all sorts of fan theories. A fundamental part of the 1D conspiracy theory was that Harry and Louis' relationship was closeted by their management company, Modest Management, supposedly because of homophobic corporate interest. Now, this part, I'm not saying obviously that was true, but I absolutely know things like that do happen.
Absolutely.
So I was on the X Factor in 2017. My friend was in a boy band the year after me, and he's gay, and he was actively told to not be vocal about his sexuality.
Yeah.
So we know that kind of thing happens. 2012, Louis admitted that the popularity of the theory was negatively affecting the way he and Harry behaved in public. And that's also because they were so good as a five in interviews. Like, I liked and like One Direction's music, but I was never someone who was like fanatic about them. I didn't have posters on my wall or anything like that.
No.
But they all gave really good... The dynamic between them was just five cheeky lads.
When all five were together.
Yeah, it was really, really engaging.
Yeah.
But I think what's upsetting about this is what Louis touched on, that they would all kind of like physically poke each other, but also poke fun at each other and nudge each other and whatever. And I think this kind of thing would make you second guess your behaviour if you know that there's a fairly significant part of the fan base looking and psychoanalyzing and overanalyzing every little thing you said or did, or when you blinked, or when you looked at someone, or when you gave a little smirk. So I can totally see that. In 2013, Channel 4 released a documentary called Crazy About One Direction. Larry's, the fans who ship Larry and Larry, were accused of bringing shame onto the 1D fandom by making all One Direction fans look crazy. As a result, Channel 4 received bomb threats and death threats.
Wow.
When it was announced that Louis was going to become a father in 2015, Larry's found it difficult to believe that he was going to have a biological child whilst also being in a monogamous relationship with Harry.
Jesus Christ.
The conspiracy theory called Babygate was created, stating that the pregnancy was fake and must have been manufactured by his management.
Wow.
Larry's claim that the baby born was at first a doll, but as the baby aged, it was replaced by an actor or another member of his friend's family. So this, for me, is the scientific term batshit.
Literally.
Batshit crazy.
Literally unhinged behaviour.
In 2016, the year after Louis became a father, One Direction goes on an indefinite hiatus. Harry has never addressed the Larry situation. I think it's below his pay grade. I think it's the right thing to just never have been dragged to.
Yeah.
Louis, of course, has. And said, when it first came around, I was with Eleanor, and it actually felt a little bit disrespectful to Eleanor, who's my girlfriend now. I'm so protective over things like that, about the people I love. So it created this atmosphere between the two of us where everyone was looking into everything we did. It took away the vibe you get off anyone. It made everything, I think, on both fences a little bit more unapproachable. I think it shows that it was never anything real, if I can use that word.
Aww.
So there's a lot to unpack here, but let's start by establishing that there is a very real difference between One Direction's huge fan base and then the offshoot of Larry's. Obviously, this is not One Direction's fan base en masse. This is a very unhinged, small proportion.
Yeah.
And it's also, let me say, like, it's one thing to be like, oh, yeah, I've seen those theories. Yeah, maybe there was life to it. Who knows? Maybe they snogged in a past life. Whatever. That is not to be a Larry. That's me being like, well, yeah, who knows? Whatever.
Yeah.
But it honestly got to the point where some people would make it, that's their whole existence. It's just giving a shit about it.
This is where we now are encroaching on territory where it's like, you all need help. You actually need help, because this
I think of that
so
of anybody who makes one thing their whole, you know, like J.K. Rowling and like certain transphobes, their entire life is based around that one issue.
Yeah.
And in general, I just think that something has switched brain-wise that is like, this is concerning, like actual help is needed.
And I think as well, because you're basing this on literally nothing. Like, the theories that the Larrys have is based on nothing. It's like me and you being in a room together, and then people are like, oh, they've both got their legs
They're
on
going
the
to
chair.
kiss.
It means they fancy each other.
Right.
Like,
his clock was pointing that way at 3 p.m.
Yeah. It means he fancies her. oh, they both have a glass of water. Oh my God, it's meant to be. They're getting married next week. Like, literally nothing.
It's
like,
madness.
And I get why Harry Styles didn't address it, because why would I?
Exactly.
Why would I? That's ridiculous. I
bonkers.
feel really bad for Eleanor. I feel really bad for their baby. Imagine their baby seeing, when the baby grows up,
You're
seeing...
fake, you're AI.
You're an actor. You're a paid actor for the last for the last 17 years of your existence. The music management company has been paying an actor. Imagine.
That's hell.
Wouldn't that give you such, like, you'd be... I'd be gaslighting myself every morning. Like, am I real? I feel like I'm on the Truman Show.
So then, what's the turning point for fan culture becoming toxic for the celeb that they worship? Because where do we sit on fan fiction in general? How is it different to writing about real celebs versus character books and movies and stuff?
I mean, listen, some fan fiction is hilarious. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's wild and wacky.
Right.
It's stupid. Okay, that's what it is.
So it's almost
dumb.
sci-fi. It's so far out of the realm of
exactly.
possibility.
It's like taking your two favourites, shoving them in a scenario that would never happen. But it's funny. It's stupid. It's wacky. However, it becomes problematic when it like turns into real investigations.
Yeah.
Someone can write fanfic about Beyonce and Piers Morgan being best mates and going to Paris together, and that would be like,
Makes me feel sick.
But I'm just
far
saying,
more upset by that than any Larry situation.
But I'm just saying, like, that
Don't put Piers Morgan and Beyonce in the same
It's
sentence.
so ridiculous that it's like, ha ha ha, LOL, stupid.
To you.
Okay.
To me, that's...
I'm so sorry
really
that I
actually hit me
deeply
to the
offended
core.
you.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry. Would you like to speak to HR? I'm so sorry about
I would
this.
love to speak to HR.
Great, we'll get them on the phone.
Cool.
Okay. But it's so stupid.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
But now imagine people actually take that and then they clip together interviews between Beyonce and bits that Piers has said.
And use that as their basis for the fanfic.
For it to
and
be,
twist it.
And then it doesn't become fanfic anymore. It becomes like fan fact because they believe it so deeply and inherently. It's scary.
I think sometimes it's easy to just think, oh, teenage girls, straight, fancy men in bands. But the most amount of people kind of shipping gay relationships, whether they're real or not, gay male relationships, tends to be teenage girls. So like Red, White and Royal Blue is a film on Prime Video about the son of the president in America. Obviously it's fiction. Son of the president in America falling in love with a royal guy in the UK.
Yeah.
And the amount of buzz that got amongst teenage girls who loved seeing gay male representation. Like it's not necessarily what your mind would immediately go to in terms of expecting what the audience would be. So I wonder if this is almost their desire for queer representation, particularly if, as we know, those managements and the industry is actively pushing things in the other direction.
Yeah.
And then I also wonder how it will have been received, and this is not a reflection on Harry or Louis, but I think historically, and unfortunately it is still often the case, that to be seen as gay to a straight man is taken by them as a weakness. I've got straight male friends, and if a friend said, well, at least when we were younger, if someone said to them, oh, sorry, I thought you were gay, they don't see that as like, oh, no, I'm not, I'm straight. They don't manage to just bash it off.
Yeah.
Bash it off? Wrong word. Dust it off. Yeah. Bash it off would be very different.
You don't have to keep saying
No, I don't. Yeah. But I think there's a lot to be said about that. So I wonder if it was more upsetting, and I'm not blaming them for this because society is homophobic, but you know, like if there's an internalized thing of like, well, this makes me really uncomfortable, the idea that they're writing fiction and it makes me gay.
Yeah. I think I agree that the probably the push behind a lot of fanfic where it's two men who are straight,
right,
but they
shouldn't be together, inverted commas.
Yeah. I think that is coming from a place of like, we just don't have enough queer representation.
No.
As like we clap our hands for like the bare minimum, but there should be like it should just be kind of normalized on our screens, on our TVs, whatever. So a lot of people do go into fan fiction. They write it because it's an escape for them. Yeah. But also they then find their community of people through that fanfic. Do you know what I mean? There's like, there is that world. For Harry and for Louis, they also have to then, like you're saying, toe the line respectfully, so
Right.
that it's not like, don't write gay fiction
stuff about me.
Do you know what I
Exactly,
mean?
yeah. Which I don't think it was, but I do
No,
think
no.
in that situation where we know it's like they've had it drilled into them, you will be straight whether you are or not.
Yeah.
It probably stung a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because it's that thing of like, so then are you really a fan if you're doing something that you know these people, like Louis literally has addressed it and said it's made him and his family uncomfortable.
Exactly.
Kind of like we've said with some Swifties, you know, like the majority of Taylor Swift fans enjoy their music, they like Taylor Swift. I would fall into that camp of really enjoying Taylor's music, but there's something about, to me, if you're like a die-hard Swiftie, it's a bit of a red flag sometimes, because I think, are you even a fan if you're engaging in behaviour that is actively upsetting the person that you're supposed to be upholding and loving and lifting?
Yeah, it's a sense of entitlement that they're like, we love you if
you behave like this because we're the way we want you to behave.
Yeah. If you allow me to encroach on your boundaries, if you allow me to, there's that sense of entitlement. And unfortunately, what you have to understand is, A, these people don't know you. B, Taylor will make her music whether you're a fan of her or not. So it actually doesn't matter. So clap when the album comes out and then go home and touch grass.
Yeah.
Because life is actually...
A lot of grass needs to be touched a lot of the time.
I need you to actually...
Lie in it. Don't care if you've got hay fever.
Roll.
Hold your breath.
Because you have veered far too close to the sun. You've got to go back.
Come on, Icarus.
You've got to go back.
So then where do we see parasocial relationships going?
I think...
Is it only going to get...
The pendulum
worse?
usually swings. I think we're close to the extreme. We're not fully there yet.
Well, I hope we are close to the extreme.
We're close.
Imagine if we're only at like 60%.
Imagine. But it has to go all the way for it to swing all the way back, and then everybody's
But do you mean, is this to an awful level of like, it has to get too much for a celeb and something awful happens?
Unfortunately...
It may take that.
Bearing in mind, pivotal moments have already happened, and we've missed the cue.
I agree.
We had many moments where it's like, we went
This is really
too
it
far.
now,
This is too
and
much.
it's not. Yeah, I agree.
And it hasn't changed the mindset of people.
Yeah.
Something has to happen. And God forbid anything happens to a celebrity. I that's not what I want. But I think society
won't shift until something like that happens. I think you're right.
Until there's a shock to the system.
Yeah.
And whether that's a documentary that comes out or it's whatever it is. But then I think after that, the pendulum will swing back and people will kind of try and, both celebrities and people who are fans will try and be more respectful, and also celebrities will gauge how much they want to share.
Wouldn't that be nice if we could look back in 10 years and go, God, look at the level of parasocial relationship then and how much better is it now, rather than it seems for the last 20 years it's just got worse and worse and worse.
But I think at the end of the day, you can love your celebrities, but just always remember this person doesn't know you.
Get a grip.
You have to get a grip on reality, hold on tightly to it, and go and hug the people in real life who do love you, because you have so many people who love you and you love them, and just go and do...
We're a happy family with a touch, some grass, and a yada yada yada. Na, 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 bum, bum, bum.
Woo! See you next week. Thank you so much for watching. You can listen to Famously in Love on BBC Sounds and watch on BBC Sounds YouTube channel.
And remember, if you're looking for more deep dives into the world of celebrities and controversies, you can listen to our sister podcast, Famously on Trial, with Larry Dean and Stacey Dooley on BBC Sounds.
Bye for now.